Looks like we are live everywhere. And I was going to try this new app called Mixler, which is like a live audio, live radio station thing. I'm going to be trying that soon because I think that would be pretty cool. But, because, mostly I do audio only. Tim, what up? Anyway, welcome to Shalom's Unsnobby Music Hobby Podcast, where we do all kinds of things, but most especially play live music. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Today, I'm going to be playing the piano and reading a book by Dr. Seuss. Well, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try to be holding this book and playing the piano at the same time. We'll see how that works. Did I ever tell you how lucky you are? That's what we're going to read. By the way, I also wanted to mention that for some people who've listened in the past, if you are interested in the Imitation of Christ audiobook, I am doing that on a separate podcast now. So you can go to sdkson.com, click the podcast link, and you will see the Imitation of Christ separately. You can listen to that at your leisure. We're going to do a quick prayer, and then we're going to get into reading this book. Nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Going to do the Hail Mary in Latin. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. All right. Little book reading today. Did I ever tell you how lucky you are by Dr. Seuss? Let's see if I can make this work. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I need 3 hands for this joint. All right. When I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man in the desert of Dries, and he sang me a song I will never forget. At least, well, I haven't forgotten it yet. He sat in a terribly prickly place, but he sang with a sunny, sweet smile on his face. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, Ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, muchly, much, much more unlucky than you. Be glad you don't work on the Bungle Bung Bridge that they're building across Boober Bay at Bum Ridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with the troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful a whole heaping lot for the places and people you're lucky you're not. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Gazette and got caught in that traffic on Zate Highway 8. Or suppose, just for instance, you lived in Gazere with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there. Suppose, just suppose, you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his thromdembulator apart. He will never get it together, I'm sure. He never will know if the gick or the gore fits into the scrux or the snucks or the snore. Yes, Ducky, you're lucky you're not Herbie Hart, who has taken his thromdembulator apart. Think they work you too hard? Think of poor Ali Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard. And it's quick growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving that mower around in that hay is the piffuless pay of 2 dukeless a day. And I piffuless pay. So he has to paint flagpoles on Sunday and Graz. How lucky you... Oh, Gruz. Let me try that again. We're going to do that part over. He has to paint flagpoles on Sundays and Gruz. How lucky you are you don't live in his shoes. And poor Mr. Bix every morning at 6. Poor Mr. Bix has his borfin to fix. It doesn't seem fair, it just doesn't seem right. But his borfin just seems to go schlump every night. It schlumps in a heap, sadly needing repair. Bix figures it's due to the local night air. That was a tongue twister. It takes him all day to unschlump it, and then the night air comes back and it schlumps once again. So don't you feel blue, don't get down in the dumps. You're lucky you don't have a borfin that schlumps. And while we are at it, consider the schlots. The crumple-horned, web-footed, green-bearded schlots, whose tail is entailed with unsolvable knots. If he isn't much worse off than you, I'll eat my umbrella, that's just what I'll do. And you're lucky indeed, you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a whammel. A whammel, you know, is a sort of a saddle held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old whammel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, Ducky, you're gone like a goose. And poor Mr. Potter, T-crosser, I-dotter, he has to cross T's and he has to dot I's in an I and T factory out in Van Nuys. Oh, the jobs people work at out west near Houch Houch. There's a Houch Houcher bee watcher, his job is to watch. Is to keep both his eyes on the lazy town bee. A bee that is watched will work harder, you see? Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, that bee didn't work any harder, not much. So then somebody said, our old bee watching man just isn't bee watching as hard as he can. He ought to be watched by another Hotch Hotcher. The thing that we need is a bee watcher. Well, the bee watcher watched the bee watcher. He didn't watch well, so another Hotch Hotcher had to come in as a watcher. And today all the Hotchers who live in Hotch Hotch are watching on watching watch. Watching the watcher who's watching that bee. You're not a Hotch watcher, you're lucky, you see? And how fortunate you're not Professor Debris, who has spent the past 32 years, if you please, trying to teach Irish ducks how to read Javanese. Oops, messed up. But we're still going. And think of the poor puffing poogle horn players who have to parade down the poogle horn stairs every morning to wake up the Prince of Hoboken. It's awful how often their poogles get broken. And oh, just suppose you were poor Harry Hatto. Try as he will, he can't make any shadow. He thinks that perhaps something's wrong with his giz. And I think that, by golly, there probably is. And the brothers Bazoo, the poor brothers Bazoo, suppose your hair grew like theirs happened to do. You think you're unlucky? I'm telling you, ducky. Some people are muchly, oh ever so muchly more unlucky than you. And suppose that you lived in that forest in France, where the average young person just hasn't a chance to escape from the perilous pants-eating plants. But your pants are safe. You're a fortunate guy. And you ought to be shouting, how lucky am I? And speaking of plants, you should be greatly gladish. You're not Farmer Falkenberg's 17th radish. And you're so lucky you're not Gucky Gown, who lives by himself 90 miles out of town in the ruins of Ronk. Ronk is rather run down. And you're so lucky you're not a left sock, left behind by mistake in the caverns of Croc. Thank goodness for all of the things you are not. Thank goodness you're not something someone forgot and left all alone in some punkerish place, like a rusty tin coat hanger hanging in space. That's why I say, ducky, don't grumble, don't stew. Some critters are much, oh ever so much, so muchly much more unlucky than you. And that's it for today's Shalom's Unsnobby Music Hobby Podcast short episode today, I was actually going to be doing an interview with Donnell of Ambi Athletics, but he had to reschedule for tomorrow. So check back in tomorrow if you want to see that interview. And that's it. In the meantime, in between time, stay holy, my friends. Hope you enjoyed the book reading short episode today because, of course, I'm tired. I wasn't feeling good yesterday, which is why I didn't put up an episode at all. Although I did do a chapter of The Imitation of Christ, which my goal is to do one every day until I finish the whole book. I don't even know how many chapters there are in that book. It's a lot, but they're pretty short chapters, between 5 to 10 minutes each one. So that is coming down the pipeline, and when I get done with it, I'm going to make a website where you will be able to download the whole thing and just listen to it at your leisure. I'm also going to be creating a YouTube playlist that has all the videos in there as well. And the YouTube playlist is, as soon as I feel a little bit better, it's going to be going up. So as each episode comes out. So look out for that. And lots of other cool things that I'm thinking about doing on this podcast that I hope you guys enjoy. In the meantime, in between time, stay holy, my friends, and God love you.